Okay, guys, so we're back here for the questions. I ran out of time on the first screencast, so let's go through these questions quickly and get this activity finished up for you. So I need to go back to the point of this. So in the scenario, which we didn't read the whole scenario, but this was a chocolate lab litter of puppies, and Sally it was a black lab litter of puppies, getting tongue-tied here this morning, with one chocolate lab. And Sally purchased the chocolate lab. She was shocked that the parents were black labs. So that's where we're at. This Tango is a chocolate lab. The parents are black labs. So we're doing some sleuthing to figure out how that happened, where that gene was. So that's where we found that most of Tango's ancestors had a homozygous black uppercase B genotype. However, Martha carried the chocolate gene. So we want to answer these questions based upon that. So I already highlighted Martha had a heterozygous genotype here. And we've got that listed. And we've already answered the first question, which two individuals appear twice? It's Zeke and Blossom. So now we want to know what's Zeke's genotype. So what I've done here is created a handful of Punnett squares that I'm going to use to recreate the matings in this pedigree. So if we start with the mating of Martha and Dreamer to get Martha's dream, then if we assume that the dreamer was a homozygous dominant individual, and we already know that Martha is heterozygous, if we do this Punnett square, then we come out with half are going to be carriers of that chocolate gene. And we can assume if that chocolate gene was passed on somewhere down the line, that Martha's dream is going to be that heterozygous is going to be a heterozygous individual. That same Punnett square is going to take place between Martha's dream and Master Kenneth 2, because if Master Kenneth 2 is a homozygous dominant black genotype and Martha's dream is heterozygous, you get the same Punnett square. The same thing, this time Master Kenneth would be the heterozygous individual. Zelda, if is homozygous dominant for black, then that means that Zeke would be a heterozygous individual. So we can assume that Zeke's genotype is uppercase B, lowercase b, heterozygous. When we come down here to spirit, again, we look in the pedigree, and Martha doesn't show up on this side, but Zeke does. So if Zeke is heterozygous, and we've figured that out already, then we know that Stranger could be heterozygous for the same reason. And Stranger and Kendall's Lass, if Kendall's Lass is homozygous dominant, mated with Stranger, heterozygous, then Brandy can be heterozygous. Brandy mated with Maestro, which would be homozygous dominant, gets Spirit, which also could be heterozygous. Does Spirit have to be heterozygous? Well, if Tango is chocolate and half the genotype comes from mother, half comes from father, then yes, Spirit must be uppercase B, lowercase b. So the next question asks, what percentage of Black Brick's genes does Tango possess? So where's Black Brick? There's Black Brick. Black Brick, tongue twister, is parent, grandparent, great-grandparent of Tango. So Tango possesses 50% of Spirit's genes, because half from mother, half from father. Tango possesses 25% Maestro, 25% Brandy. And that means, if we half it again, Tango possesses 12.5% of Black Brick Bridget, Stranger, Kendall's Lass, Crafty Ann, Cartwright, Martha's Dream, and Master Kenneth II. So it would be 12.5%. And pedigrees always work like that. You can work your way back to be able to come up with the percentages by halving it each time. Next, if Martha was the only chocolate carrier in Tango's paternal pedigree, list the names of the other dogs on the paternal side that must have been carriers. So we already said, we worked our way through, we found that it had to be Martha's Dream, Master Kenneth III, and Zeke. Where did the chocolate gene originate in Tango's maternal pedigree? Again, we already looked at that, and we found that had to be Zeke. And again, like if we come in here, and I didn't do this when we were talking about it, but I'll do it now just so you can follow along with this, that these are all the animals that have to be carriers in order for that chocolate puppy to show up. There. Now I feel better about myself. What are the odds that Tango would have inherited the chocolate gene from Stranger? So it's asking the same question as number 4. What percentage of Tango's genes come from Stranger? And if we come up here, 50% from Spirit, 25% from Maestro Brandy, that means 12.5%, or 1/8. What are the odds that Tango would have inherited the chocolate gene from Martha? So what percentage of the genetics come from Martha? Martha only shows up on this side, so 50% from Zeke, 25% from either Zelda or Master Kenneth, 12.5% from Master Kenneth II or Martha's Dream, and that works down to 6.25%, or 1/16, from Martha. All right, guys. So those are the questions. Hopefully that cleared up your confusion. If you didn't understand, don't forget to do the conclusion questions. And hopefully this gave you a little bit better understanding of pedigrees. And I know some of you have animals that have pedigrees at home, so you should take a look at them and see if you can examine them a little further for any interesting things in your animal's pedigrees if you have one. Okay, have a great day. Bye.